Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I mean, not too different, because I'm going to be talking about Dir En Grey yet again, for the millionth time, my favorite band. But I did want to start off by saying that if you are a fan of Dir En Grey, my band, Eye of Mensis, has released our debut record, Dousing the Flames. It came out the beginning of November, and we have another album coming out, very inspired by Dir En Grey. I don't have the vocal chops of Kyo, but a lot of the sounds and textures and like the way that songs flow and the sounds that we use are very, very similar to Dir En Grey, specifically if you like Dumb Sparrow, and Ouroboros and that kind of stuff. So yeah, check it out if you want to. It's available everywhere. So after that shameless self-promotion, today I will be ranking every single Dir En Grey album and EP, kind of. I'm not going to be doing all of like the 3-track singles and stuff. I will be doing The Devil in Me, which came out last year. I'm just putting that on there to kind of show where like their new song stands in the ranking, but don't expect to see any other ones like the Oboro single or anything like that. Just like the major ones like Unraveling and Six Ugly and Misa. Like that's all you're gonna get for like the smaller releases. So let's dive right into it. So we're starting off here with Misa, their first release. It's an EP or a mini album. This was released in 1997. As I said in my garden reaction video, I am not super familiar with, but it is something that I enjoy. It's very of its time. It's something that the band would obviously grow up from very quickly with their first album. But of course, there is a standout song on there in Garden. And among the track list, there's a lot of different and unexpected things. The band utilizes some like thrash metal riffing. The energy of the album is really great, and there's some little touches in there that make it unique. But overall, it's just kind of like a Visual K album. Nothing too fancy. So I would put that one in needs more listens, but I do like it. So on to their first album, which is Gauze, which was released in 1999. This is a very, very, very good album. Maybe my favorite rock album of the 90s. Again, it kind of follows Misa, where it is a Visual K album, but it's got so much experimentation, so many interesting sounds to it. In a lot of ways, it feels inspired by Faith No More and Mr. Bungle. I know a lot of people compare Kyo, the vocalist, to Mike Patton of those projects, just because he does so many strange and unique things with his voice, and his range is insane. Yeah, you can definitely hear that on this album, but I don't think it's to a point where it's this album's identity. This is definitely a very unique album by a very unique band, and it's kind of crazy to just come out and release this. Yeah, they had Misa first, but that was just an EP. That wasn't a full-length album. To come out with something this kind of tight and put together, it flows perfectly. There are so many memorable riffs and moments and catchy songs and melodies on this thing. Like, you look at the song Cage, which was like one of the big singles for the album, and still to this day one of the band's most popular songs. That song is fantastic. The way that song flows, the structure of it, the bass line is one of the best I've ever heard. It's so much fun to play. I'm currently learning it on bass right now. And even though the guitar on that song and the rest of the album is a little bit kind of sloppy, it adds to the sound of the album because every riff is creative, and not to mention how good the drumming is. The vocals, even though Kyo isn't doing anything insane like he would later on, the vocals fit the music perfectly, which is what I also said about Misa. But even more so here, he sounds better than he did on Misa. And then added to that are the lyrics, which are sad and disturbing and dark. So there's this undercurrent of grotesque to this whole album, as poppy and as bright as it might sound on the surface, which gives the album a very unnerving vibe that I love, which is something with all of their music. It's something that I appreciate about this album because it's so digestible. It's so kind of poppy and sugary. It's so good. It's a brilliant album. It's one of my favorite Dir En Grey albums and one of my favorite albums ever. So obviously, I'm going to put that in deeply connected to. And now we are on to Macabre, the band's second album, which sees them experimenting a bit more. This is a weird one. This is a controversial one. I see this as like an album that's very down the middle in how people feel about it. There are people who like it, there are people who don't really like it, and then there's like a small group of people who say that it's one of their best. And I fall somewhere kind of in between being one of their best and just kind of liking it. It takes Gauze and adds so many weird ideas to it, like even more so. They buckle down with the experimentation and they play around with some more metal elements. Some more of like the thrash riffing pops up. It feels like what the band would do on the album after, but minus the cohesion. It feels kind of disjointed at times. And there are plenty of songs on this album that are standouts, like the title track Macabre, which is like one of the band's most important songs that they still play to this day. Like, it's a great album. I love it. Really depends on the day, but sometimes I'll be like, man, this really might be one of their best. But in general, I don't feel that way. It's just like if I'm in the mood for it. So it's one of those. I would say that it would go in has standout tracks. I would give it like an 8.5 out of 10. Like, it's really good. I don't dislike any of this band's albums. I think they're extremely consistent, and that's why they're my favorite band, because I love all of their albums. Next on this tier list, they have their remix compilation Kai, which came out after Macabre. This one I don't really care about. This is like, I've listened to it once and whatever. I don't have much to say about it, so that's going at the bottom. I'm sorry for all the Kai heads out there. It's just not happening for me. Love the album art though, it's cool. So next, we are on to Kisao. This album is one that I have learned to really love. This is a special, special album. I think in a lot of ways, this might be Dir En Grey's best album. It takes the experimentation that was on Macabre, it takes the digestibility of Gauze, kind of combines them into one and adds in some new metal elements. It's a bit heavier, it's dark, it's sad. The lyrics on this are horrible. They'll have a beautiful ballad, like Embryo, I think is the song. And then you read the translation of the lyrics and you're like, holy fuck, that's like disturbing and horrible. And again, that's something that I really love about this. It's one of the few albums that I could put on any day, any time of day. I don't even necessarily have to be in the mood for it, and I will listen to it front to back because it's such an easy album to listen to. I might not recommend this to somebody who's never listened to Dir En Grey for the first time, but for me, knowing the band's history, everything that they've done since, and what to expect from them, this album showcases all of their strengths. And while it doesn't have like the death metal elements or the insane vocal chops of later stuff, it's just such a good rock album. It's kind of like the better version of Gauze for me. It's honestly perfect, and I am putting it above Gauze at the top. So next we have their Six Ugly EP, which is one that I don't really care for. You see them kind of going more towards the new metal direction of Vulgar and Withering to Death. But outside of the song Newsman, it's not really something that I listen to often. It's very short. You can listen to it, but there's nothing really on here that sticks out to me. You can tell that the band hadn't really found their groove yet with this kind of new thing that they were doing. So I'm just gonna put that on rarely revisit, but I am going to put it above Kai because they are original songs and Newsman is pretty damn good. So next on to Vulgar, one of the band's most iconic and important albums. This sees the band fully embracing this kind of chaotic, heavy, nu metal influenced sound with like this punk energy that feels very, very unique and fresh, especially at the time in the Visual Kei movement. There is another band called Kaguru who would release an album like 6 months before this that sounds almost identical to this. So if you like this album, go check that out. But this was kind of like a new thing that was going on, and it would go on to define the sound of what a lot of Visual Kei bands were doing and would do from then until now. There's a lot of bands that still sound like this. Obviously you have the song Obscure, which is like the band's biggest song, and that song's amazing. That huge anthemic chorus, the disgusting music video that went along with it. It's iconic. The whole album is so iconic. This is going pretty high up. I'm not putting it at the top though, because I don't want to crowd it, and there are ones that I like more than this. So I'm putting that in timeless classics. Just, you know, not my favorite. It's a brilliant album. Next up is Withering to Death, another very important album for the band. I believe this was the first one that got more of a wide release and got more eyes on them in the international scene, especially in the US. This album is so good. It kind of trailblazes for what the band would go on to do. There's more of a progressive edge to it. It still has the nu metal sounds of Vulgar, but it's adding in more of like an alternative metal, mature sound to it. A lot of like Tool sounds. Which I hate that comparison because everybody compares everything to fucking Tool if it sounds a little bit progressive. I believe the band said that they were influenced by Tool, so I'm just gonna say yeah, so there's like a lot of like Tool going on in here. You've got some really fun songs like Jesus Christ R&R, which is one that I hated for the longest time, but have grown to love because of that infectious and melodic pre-chorus into the very stupid hook that will get stuck in your head if you hear it. It's such a fun song. Again, the guitars on this, I don't need to say it. You know, it's all good across the board. Kyo starts pushing his voice into some more wild territory. He starts doing some of the operatic stuff on here. And he starts singing a bit higher and doing some more experimenting in that realm. And you can see how this kind of set the blueprint for Ouroboros, and it's really, really good. So I'm going to put that in timeless classics as well. There are maybe 2 songs on here that I'm not completely in love with, so I would give it like a 9 out of 10. I would put it above Vulgar, which I would not have said like a year ago. So my relationship with this band is continually changing. Next, what some would argue is the band's worst release, Marrow of a Bone. This came out kind of after the band was touring in America with Korn on the Family Values tour, and they started pushing this more Western influenced metalcore, new metal sound, and started doing more lyrics in English and trying to capture that audience and capitalize on that. And I do have to agree with people. I think they lost some of the charm and some of the stuff that made them so unique on this album, but I don't think it's bad at all. It's balls to the wall heavy, and then there are songs that dwell on this more atmospheric progressive sound. Again, some Tool sounding stuff like The Pledge. And then you get some really fun, fast-paced, like really, really heavy shit, like Agitated Scream of Maggots. And you look at the lyrics for that, and it's the stupidest shit you've ever seen in your life, but it's a fun song. It's a fun album. It's not one that I listen to a lot because I do think that some of it blends together, and outside of the singles, there are some songs that feel fillery. It's just not a direction I like to see the band going in because it feels like they're not being true to themselves. It's a tough one because I do like the album. There's a lot on here that I love. Just in general, it's kind of a bummer because it could have been way better. I will put that in has standout tracks. I will put it below Macabre. So next, we have Ouroboros, widely considered the band's best album, and this is the original master. I put both versions on this tier list, so I can kind of give you my thoughts on them both. This is my favorite Dir En Grey album, specifically the original master. I think the shorter runtime, the more raw production, and the way the vocals are mixed works a lot better. And there's a lot of different things from this to the remaster. A lot of different textures and sounds that you don't get or hear on the remaster. In general, I think it's just amazing that the band could make something this creative, this dense, this expansive, and tight musically. It's just amazing. It's like they took everything that they did on Withering to Death and Vulgar and Marrow of the Bone and just kind of mashed them all together into this incredible, dark, evil sounding, experimental, progressive metal album. It's huge. It's a huge album. It sounds larger than life. And it kind of set the tone for what the band would continue doing because it was such a big success. Everybody loves this, and it's for good reason. This is my favorite album of all time, and I don't ever see that changing. It's been my favorite album since I was like 13, and it never gets old. I've listened to this thing hundreds of times, and I still get chills. I know everything that's about to happen, and I still get chills. It's incredible. I love it. The vocals are phenomenal. The guitar is phenomenal. It's very heavy. The guitar tone is so good. It's so tight. It's so well written. And then you get this bass with a lot of high end to it. It has that like slap to it. It sounds like, I don't know, like Korn or something, how they would produce bass in their music. It sounds so good. In my opinion, the greatest album ever recorded. Most people would probably disagree with me, but it's that good, and I love it. It's going at the top. Very top of the top. And then the remaster would be next. I think this remaster is really good. It suits a lot of the songs very well, like Venushka. The remaster makes everything sound very clear, very crisp, in that sort of modern progressive metal sound that the band was obviously going for, and that's the sound that they wanted. So I can appreciate this as it is and as a different experience. And I can understand why they would want to change it and have it remastered. But for me, there's so much more darkness and disgust that comes with that raw, like, compressed as shit sound of the original. Like, it sounds terrible, but in such a good way. I'm not going to say too much about this version. I would put it in timeless classics, above Withering to Death. And I think the extra tracks add way too much onto the runtime. I think for me, runtime on an album is very important. Runtime and album art are like my two most important things, along with like the structure of the album. And when you have an album that's over an hour, it's kind of a gamble if I'm going to be able to sit through the whole thing. I think 45 minutes to 50 is like the sweet spot that you want to hit for an album. It's not too long, it's not too short. And even though I love this album and I love the additional tracks, it takes a lot out of the entire experience when it's over an hour long. And the album works so well at 50 minutes. So, I don't know. Preference. But at the top of timeless classics. Next up is Dumb Spiro Sparrow, which was my true introduction to the band. I mentioned in one of my reactions that I had listened to Misa first and I didn't like it because I was a kid. But then I later on heard the song Different Sense. And that kind of blew me away. I was very into deathcore and metalcore at the time, and I'd never heard a vocalist do what Kyo was doing on that song. And still, to this day, that album has some of the most insane, harsh vocals that you're ever gonna hear. It's such a chaotic, terrifying album, and Kyo is doing some really insane stuff, and that and the bass has a lot of high end to it, and it's slapped, and it kind of reminds me of Cryptopsy's None So Vile. Not only because of the sound of the bass, but because of how insane everything is. It's like Dir En Grey took deathcore and put it into their sound, and it really works. Like, it's got a lot of variety to it. In a lot of ways, it feels like Ouroboros, but heavier, scarier, darker. For me, there are some songs that I'm not really crazy about. Like, a lot of the longer tracks, Blossoming Beelzebub, it's never done anything for me. Even now, when I listen to it, it just feels like Venushka minus the emotion, minus the pain in that song. It doesn't hit me the same way. The way it's structured, it just kind of feels flat. And I'm waiting to get to Different Sense in the rest of the album. I think that album has some of the band's best songs ever. If I was to make a top 10 list of Dir En Grey songs, there are like 3 of them that would be on that list. The closing track, the one with the really long name, starts with an H. I don't remember what it's called. I'll put it right there. That song is amazing. Lotus. It's so good. And then obviously like Different Sense and stuff. So it's a really good album that I struggle with, because if I'm in the mood for it, I'll be like, oh, this is like incredible. But for the most part, it's not one that I want to listen to as much as like Kisao or Ouroboros or Gauze. I would put it at a nice 9 out of 10 because it's still a phenomenal record. It's mind-blowing. It's just not as mind-blowing as their other stuff. So I would have to put that in has standout tracks at the top. So next we are on to their EP, The Unraveling, which is one I'm not super familiar with. It's got some remakes on it of older songs, using like their new sound that they had on Dumb Spiro Sparrow. It's good. It's good EP. I really don't feel one way or the other about it. The remakes are good. I prefer the originals on all of them, but if I'm in the mood for the remake, I'll listen to the remake too. It's like a different experience for the most part. Besides the final, I think that one's just kind of copy pasted, a little bit cleaner. It's good. Needs more listens. I would put it above Misa. It's good. Whatever. And then next, we will go on to Arc. Great album. This is another contender for like, could be their best album. Some of Kyo's most insane vocals on this. He hits some insane high notes and he's doing all this operatic stuff. And while it's not as heavy as the album before it, Dump Sparrow Sparrow, it's atmospheric, it's beautiful, it's enough to make you cry just by listening to it. It's a dark, depressing, gorgeous, soul-rending album. It's incredible. It's so good. The production is so good. The way the atmospheric parts are composed, all of the instrumentation and arrangements are just so beautiful, and the guitar tone, it's so chunky, it's so good. The bass, so good. Everything on this album is so good. They could have ended their career at this album and people would have been so happy. It would have been a perfect send-off. It's a brilliant album. I used to say that this was my favorite, but I would still put it up there. I would put it timeless classics above the Ouroboros remaster. It's really, really fucking good. And I would like to mention that it sees the band adding in a lot more Luna Sea elements to their sound. Listen to this album and then listen to the album Mother by Luna Sea and say that there aren't a lot of parallels there. So next up is The Insulated World, an album that is a bit of a head scratcher in a lot of ways. At first, I did not like this album. I struggled to finish it for the longest time, and I see a lot of mixed reactions to this. I think the production on it is awful, and that's a main thing that makes it difficult to get into, but also you see the band recycling these older sounds from their vulgar Withering to Death days, and it feels a bit odd, like the band has run out of ideas, and then they're mixing in sounds from Arc and Ouroboros and like their most recent albums. It just feels like they're mashing everything into one album without anything new, and I think a lot of people, myself included, were very disappointed by that. But since then, I have come across a remaster done by a fan that makes the album sound amazing production-wise, so I didn't have that to like suffer through. But I have spent a lot of time watching live videos, looking at the lyrics to these songs, and it's made me appreciate everything a lot more. Now this is up there for me. This is one of my favorite Dir En Grey albums. One of my favorite songs by Dir En Grey off of this album is Values of Madness, where you get that very, very strange sort of rapping part that Kyo does. And it's silly, it's fun. It's like the band is adding that sort of wackiness back into the music. And there's some great melodic, soaring choruses on there. Mixed in with this sort of insane metalcore and nu metal sound. It's a lot of fun. It's a very fun album. And then you get to the closing track, Ranunculus, which is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my life and will make me tear up every time I hear it. So this one I am putting in underrated gems. I think, yeah, I would put this in my top 4 albums of Dir En Grey. This, for me, is an underrated, underappreciated, and misunderstood album. And of course, maybe it's not fair to be listening to a fan remaster and ignoring the original master of the album, but listening to it in that state has sort of made me recontextualize it, and it's now one of my favorite Dir En Grey albums, which I never thought I would say. Phalaris, another album that I was deeply disappointed by and was kind of trying to gaslight myself into thinking that I loved it when I didn't. When I had first heard this album kind of washed over me. The singles like Oboro I really enjoyed, and Perfume of Sins started off very interesting with the kind of black metal inspired riffs and drumming. But I didn't retain any of it. There wasn't anything that really stood out to me, and it all kind of washed over me. And it felt like the band had run out of ideas, and it was just kind of like, well, we're a legacy act now, we're just going to release an album for the fans, you know, whatever, we don't really care about this. So it's an album that I listened to a few times when it came out, and then it just kind of faded into the back. And if I was going to pick up Dir En Grey, it was not going to be this album, so I didn't give it too much of a chance. And then recently, I saw a live clip of Oboro, which gutted me. I was like, holy shit. So I watched some more clips from this album and read the lyrics, and I was like, wow, this is like really, really heartfelt, meaningful, sort of gut punch stuff, which I never expected from this album. But once I got that, I started giving the album more of a chance, and I started seeing different textures and layers and sounds in the album that I didn't notice or care to notice before. And it kind of led me to saying, this is actually a really good album. And it makes me excited to see what the band's going to do next. Also hoping that the band starts experimenting more instead of kind of falling back on older stuff. Yeah, you get like, obviously Oboro, 13. Eddie is kind of an underrated song that I really like, one of my favorites off the album. And then the closing track, Kamui. The band is doing a lot more longer songs on this, kind of going back to more of a progressive thing. And it's good. It's a good album. It's not one of my favorites by the band. I would say probably my least favorite album by the band is Marrow of a Bone. And then this would be my second least favorite, but it's still good. It's a great album. So I would put that in, has standout tracks, because I do like it. And I could put it in underrated gems, because I do think it's a bit underrated, but I see a lot more praise being given to this than The Insulated World. So then last, we have the single, The Devil in Me, the 3-track EP, single, whatever, which features the new song The Devil in Me, which I covered in a reaction video. It's a good song. I like this more than what they had going on with Phalaris. It's very crunchy and groovy and kind of hypnotic to its pacing. There isn't like a big chorus. It's very odd for a single. And the time that I've had to kind of watch the music video, watch live videos, listen to the song a million times, I've really started to love and appreciate it. Because while it sounds like something that could be on Vulgar or Withering to Death, it's still a very unique song in the scope of the band's discography. And I kind of want to see where they're going to go from there. I'm assuming this year we'll get another single, and then next year, you know, another album. And that's kind of how they've been going lately, with like a 4-year gap between albums. I think this is a good direction for the band to go. It's it's in my daily rotation. I would put it above The Unraveling. I like it. So this video wasn't anything too fancy. I just wanted to do something other than doing just another reaction, which I have a whole list of them to do. I just wanted to do something else to kind of break up the flow of things, because it's a bit overwhelming. I have like 20 songs that people want me to react to, and I'm gonna do them all, I swear to God. I've got a whole list of them written down. So yeah, let me know what you think. What's your ranking? I feel like everyone else's is going to be completely different to the next person. So it's always interesting to see what other people think. Yeah, feel free to let me know what your ranking is. Tell me I'm an idiot for my ranking. And I'll see you in the next video, probably a reaction.